Okay, we're holding the Mishnah, beginning the fourth parak. Again, we're going to start the Mishnah.
There's another volume after that, isn't there?
Maybe it's another 2 volumes. Okay, I'm not sure. You told Art Scroll. The original edition, there's only 1 volume. Okay. Hashler get liishto. Person sends a get to his wife. Does he give a get? He sent it through an agent, a shliach. V'gia b'shliach. And he comes upon the agent. O shesholach achrov shliach. Or he sent another agent to locate the agent who's delivering the get. And he says the get that I've given to you is what is nullified. Harize botil. The get is nullified. The get cannot be given. Why? Because simply he canceled the shlichus. He said a get, but it's not so simple. It's even worse than that. The question is, when you nullify the get, let's say afterwards the husband wants to use that same get over again. Could you use a get over again? Good. No. It's not. Stated.
What is he nullifying? Is he nullifying?
So simply,
he's nullifying the get.
By saying that, simply he's nullifying the shlichus.
The
Shlichus. He's canceling. He's canceling. Right. We'll say.
He wants to send it later in the afternoon.
Right. Correct. Or he doesn't want this person to deliver it. He'll deliver it somewhere else.
Well, what is the most important to cancel the shlichus?
The shlichus. Once you cancel the agency, he's no longer representing the husband, so he can't give it.
But if the shliach is no longer there, he can cancel the.
I mean, not in his presence.
Yes.
No. Right now, he's communicating with the agent. Either he meets the agent, or he sends an agent to inform the agent that the get should not be given. Okay, so it's both there. Kidem eitzel lishto. What about before the shlich arrived at his wife? He preempted the shlich and told his wife, the get you receive, it's not a get. He's informing her. So when she receives it, she knows factually she can't remarry. So basically say, I canceled the shlich. I mean, although the shlich doesn't know I canceled him, I'm telling you, the man is canceled. Or he sent an agent to inform her that the agency is canceled. The get that I sent that hasn't yet arrived has been nullified. Then it's botil.
In all these cases, the get
Has not arrived. All this. Now, the Mishnah. What about if the get did arrive? The get, once she's divorced, she's divorced. You know, after the horse is out of the barn, it's gone. It's too late. Okay, now, the Gemara is going to explain. There's I mean, do you have to tell me that? Once a woman's divorced, she's divorced. It's understood she's divorced. We're speaking about what about if the husband himself was pursuing the shliach and he missed him, and by the time he arrives, the get was given. And he never made a declaration in front of the 3 that the get's nullified. And he finally comes to the wife and says, by the way, I meant to be here, I'm telling you the get is nothing. Do you even pay attention to the husband? You don't pay attention. Why? But what's the consideration? This consideration is maybe his action later reveals what his intent was always. Right? It's called igloi milslam afreya. It reveals what he originally wanted. Maybe I would say that. The answer is no, it doesn't reveal anything. Even though today he's saying that, since there's no indication originally when the get was given that was not his intent, she's divorced. Otherwise, it's understood. When she's divorced, he can't say, I want to revoke the divorce. Once it's terminated, it's terminated. There's a Gemara in this Volchem has a Shaila question. If stomach lishma, if a Kohen brings a korban, does not think specifically it's an ola, it's a chatos, whether it's valid or not. What? Wait a second. The Gemara has a question. So Gemara wants to bring a proof from Mishnah Psochim. Now you have dalet avodas. You have shchita, you have kabbalah, you have holocha, and you have zrika. Right? That's the 4 parts of the avodas hadam. That's called avodas hadam. You have it, Howard.
Yes.
Repeat it. What are the 4?
You have the sprinkling.
No. Where does it start?
The shechita, you have.
Yeah, and after shechita, what do you have?
You're, wait a minute, you receive the blood and then you sprinkle?
No. Then you transport it, then you sprinkle. There's four. Shechita, Kabbalah, Holocha, Zrika. Those are the four. Okay? Now, if you hold that the Kohen has to have in mind, that means every one of them, you have to have in mind that you're doing it for that particular korban. Right? The Shechita is for the shlomim, the receiving of blood's for the shlomim, the transporting the blood, and the sprinkling blood. Okay? So let's say korban Pesach. Korban Pesach, we slaughter it, shlo l'shmo, it's possible. The Mishnah says in the Zvachim, Pesach and Chatos, others, the korban is not invalidated. Although you have to bring another one, but korban for Pesach, so it says, he slaughtered it without thinking Pesach. He transported the blood without Pesach, and then he sprinkled it, having him on Pesach. It says it's valid. It's valid. So Gemara says, from there you see that stumbles l'shma, that although he didn't think Pesach during the first three stages of the blood, it's valid. So you see, stumble l'shma, Gemara says no proof. Since when he finally sprinkled, he had in mind Pesach, that reveals to us that all along that was his intent. Even though he didn't verbalize it, but that was his intent. Since in the final segment of the dam, he had in mind, that tells us. Maybe, so therefore it's no proof, because maybe I mean, the Gemara brings a proof that we hold stumble l'shma, even he thinks nothing, it's valid. He doesn't think specifically the korban is valid. So the same thing here. Although initially we weren't aware, but since here he's coming and he's saying to the wife, I meant to be here, but I just missed the boat, or whatever it is, and therefore we say no. We just say so. What he says later reveals to us what his intent was all along, and therefore the get is valid get. You know, we had this halacha, the Gemara says, Tochidei dibur k'dibur dami. If a person enters into a financial transaction, and within the time frame of Sholem Aleichem Rebbe Mori, which is a few moments, you want to retract, you can retract. You could retract. So let's say originally it wasn't a conditional transaction. And within that period of time, he says, by the way, I want it to be conditional. He sells a piece of property, and within 30 days, he says, only if you pay within 30 days. So he could insert that condition, because it's within that time period. Once that time period passes, it's gone. It's over. He already, it left his domain, he transferred it out. However, the Gemara says there are two cases which you don't say it. What are they? Gitin and Kedushin, okay, and Avodah Zarah. Person says to an idol, Eliato, you're my God. That's a declaration of idolatry. What about he says, Eliato, I changed my mind. Within Tokadei Dibor. Doesn't make a difference. That's considered a declaration of idolatry. What about a man, he puts a ring on a woman's finger, says, Harei Mukdeshesli, in the presence of witnesses. Tokadei Dibor, he wants to retract. Right? Can't retract. Gives the get. Tokadei Dibor, within this, he gives the get, puts it in, he says, I changed my mind. It's nothing. Give it back to me. She's divorced. Why? So the Rajabam in Bavash explains what is the whole concept of Tokadei Dibor K'dibur Dami. That we say that a person hasn't made up his mind fully. Everything in any transaction is intent. Without intent means nothing. A person in his sleep says something, and he's not in touch with what he's saying, it means nothing, just words, right? You have to have intent. So let's say a person, the average person, when he enters into any transaction, initially he has in mind that I have 3 seconds to retract, or 4 seconds to retract. That's every person's mindset. So therefore you could retract. Because a person enters into this kind of negotiation or transaction, having in mind, and he begins it, although he has in mind that he may retract. What about idolatry? A person, a Jew, does not do idolatry unless he's thought over it 1,000 times. So the initial act or declaration, he meant what he said. Because otherwise, he wouldn't have said it. When a man marries a woman, marriage, because it has it's such a significant act, he's not going to say Arim Kadeshusly unless he made up his mind this is his wife. And same with a get. A man's not going to divorce his wife, which is termination of a relationship of this dimension, unless he's thought it over many times and now he's divorcing her. So therefore he can't retract it any longer. Wow. No, if he cancels, he cancel it. That's a. Boy, what does one thing have to do with another? No, it's just a question of convenience. It has nothing to do with what. But he made up his mind. A person doesn't send a get with a shliach unless he made up his mind to divorce his wife. It's not because he's leaving room to back out, to cancel. It's not the reason.
So, Rabbi, just want to ask the sequence of it. The man tries to find the shliach who's en route to deliver the get. Can't find him, and he runs to the wife. And he says, the man that's going to come here, ignore it, it's no good. And then subsequently that man does deliver the get.
It's nothing.
And
It's nothing.
She receives it.
No, did you ever say, well, therefore what?
It doesn't, because here it says that if it's in her hand, the agent puts it in her hand to get it good.
No, they put it in before he cancels it.
No, that's why I'm asking.
No, only.
The other way.
No, she's not divorced. If she's aware that he already canceled it, and subsequently she receives it, she's receiving something which has no value.
So when the agent comes, I think the agent has got to come with witnesses, correct, to do the delivery. People have to witness this.
Okay.
So here's the agent coming with witnesses, and she says, forget it.
Let's say she says nothing, and she accepts it. I mean, he has to prove that he canceled it. Let's say she says whatever it is. She says he never arrived. He never said anything, and she has witnesses when the get was given. So she played a game that she's divorced, but she's not divorced, right? See, the two separate things. Let's say he canceled it, and she claims he never came. It's okay. She's an ish. She's a married woman. She may get away with it because when he gave the get, he gave it in the presence of witnesses, right? That's a fact. First, it's not so simple. You need witnesses. Let's say it's a local, it's a domestic get. It's not doesn't come from overseas, or it was from the same town. What? No, the get is even Eretz Yisrael. It's not coming from overseas. This get.
Because you could have a situation here where that man visited the wife before the agent arrived with the entourage of witnesses.
Okay.
And he said, the get that you're about to be delivered to you
is nothing.
Is nothing. And it's just him and her. And then they come, and so now you have a situation with an agent and witnesses who properly deliver the get, but she's claiming she's not divorced.
Well, the witnesses if the witnesses that the husband said it, so she'll produce the witnesses. She's not divorced.
No, the husband went by himself ahead of her.
Okay, and there were no witnesses there.
There were no witnesses there.
Okay.
And now you have a situation with the agent, with the witnesses delivering the get, and she accepts the get. She receives the get.
Nothing.
That's nothing.
She has to prove it.
Confusing.
No, it comes out. Let's say she's an Ashes Kohen, right? She's the wife of a Kohen, or whatever it is. Is she a divorcee? She's not a divorcee, right? If she's a divorcee, she's not permitted to a Kohen. If the get was canceled, but according to the evidence we have, she did receive it, right?
Witnessed everything.
Let's say he insists. Let's see, before he puts it in his hands, she says, what you can do right now means nothing. And she says in the presence of witnesses. Okay, so it has to be verified. But until it's verified, we just don't go based on what she says, right? We don't go based on what she says. We address at face value. She received the get, presence of witnesses, and we know he originally was the agent, and there was no indication that he was canceled, right? So you have to bring witnesses that he had said this to his wife, that the get you will receive is nothing.
Just he said it. See, that's why I'm asking.
He has to prove it. No. He said it means nothing. He can't. No, only with witnesses. That's the only way to do it.
He doesn't have witnesses.
So she's a suffix mugureshes. She's a suffix. It's a question. So he has to give her another get. Let's say he's a Kohen, he has to give her another get.
He didn't want to give the get. He came to
I understand, but he has to give her a get now, if he's a Kohen. If he's a Kohen, he has to give her a get, because there's a suffix. She's not permitted to him in either case.
So it's over. Regardless, it's over.
Yeah, but she can't. But factually, she knows she was canceled. He canceled. So factually, she's still his wife. She can't marry another man.
No, I understand, but he wants her back. He can't take
I
her
understand
back.
that, but factually, if he can't prove it, the Bezdin is not going to allow him to be with her, right? If he's a Kohen,
I understand. So this is cool.
so he's going to have to give another get to let her
The
to.
court today would have said, if a man wants to do this, he better come with witnesses.
Okay,
himself.
that's being smart.
Okay. Don't just
Good,
go there
good.
by
Not a
yourself.
problem. Not a.
Rabbi, not upon a regular Israel, if he changes his mind after the get is given, can he remarry the wife?
Definitely. As long as she didn't marry another party in the interim. Okay?
And she cannot remarry until 3
What?
months.
No, she could have. If she had relations, she still could, the man could remarry his wife. It's only marriage. Only if we just had it. Parshas Ki Savo. It's a famous Sipurno. Last week's reading. The Torah says that if a woman was married, divorced, then she marries a third party, the original husband cannot remarry her. It's called Ma'aseh Gerushaso. You're remarrying your divorcee. So the Sipurno says, why? The Torah says because let's say a man has a Zion, another woman, and he goes to the man and says, you know something? I can't be with your wife. It's adultery. Do me a favor. Divorce her. I'll marry her. And when I'm finished, I'll divorce her. You can take her back. I'm telling you what the Seforno says. So it would encourage this kind of behavior, this kind of licentiousness, promiscuity, and it would be disastrous. Torah says once the woman is divorced, if she should marry another man, the original husband said this arrangement can never be made. It's really to protect the sanctity of marriage. What? Doraisa. She marries. If she has relations, nothing. Well, the presumption is she's not going to have relations out of marriage because it's not permitted. Okay? Essentially, once had a case many years ago. These two people were engaged to be married. So I asked the man, the groom, the chosen, was your mother ever married before? She says, yes. Did she ever get a get? Came from an irreligious background. He was a Baal Tshuva. And I said, do you know who gave the get? Okay, it was a very complicated case. The get was given in Connecticut. And I had to find out who the rabbi was, who oversaw the get. Was he a man who knew what he was doing? If he didn't know what he was doing, the get's not a get again. So I found the name of the rabbi. It was a Lithuanian Rav who really did know. And then afterwards, he brought the get because it was on file. The get is always on file. And the get was problematic. It was all marked up. So what happened? After he passed away, this Lithuanian rabbi, some young whippersnapper came in there, and he took the get out of the file, and he used it as a teaching model. And he marked up the get, which he shouldn't have done. So, and I sent it to one of Ramosha's, person studied by Ramosha Feinstein for 25 years. And he verified that the get was done correctly, and this other person actually shouldn't have done what he did. But this is the story of Ma'aseh Gerushaso. What happened? The man divorced her, right? The second husband, she was married to his father. They had no children. She remarried another man. She was divorced from the second husband, and the first husband remarried her. He was a product of the second time the first husband married her. Okay? The get that is marked up was from the second husband, which was okay. So when the first husband remarried her, he was with a woman who was divorced. Otherwise, it would have been adultery if that get wouldn't have been a valid get. So the father violated Ma'aseh Gerushaso. He was the son of a illegal marriage, but he's still a legitimate Jew. So that's the story. They're married today about 23 years, this couple.
So the parents were over a love, but it doesn't affect him?
Doesn't affect him. No, it's owned by a Kohen or Mamzer. Either Chol or Mamzer. It's neither. No.
The third marriage was the original husband or the son of the husband?
No, was the original husband.
He's still a ruler on what you're not about to.
Right, correct.
And the woman has to wait 3 months to remarry, doesn't she?
That's a rabbinic law. Okay?
Why would you not do this? What's the ramification of it being illegal if it's not really being enforced? Like, what stops them from doing it? There's
No,
restrictions or fines.
no. Of course, no. You're permitted to marry the offspring of such a marriage. The answer is you're allowed to. I'll tell you, you can't imagine how important, David, how important to ask questions. I was at a wedding. This was an observant couple. They should have known better. It was in somebody from Scarsdale, and we're about to. This person was going to officiate. This rabbi, he was the rabbi young Israel of Scarsdale. He's the one who died in that fire, and Rubenstein. So we're there, and it was at the Waldorf, the wedding, and I say to the choson, "Is the ring your ring?" That's the question I asked him. So he says, there's a custom in his family. There's a family heirloom that all the grandchildren are married with the same ring. That's what he told me. That means the ring was not his ring. I said, so I said to Rabbi Rubenstein, I said, he has to acquire the ring. He says, of course. I mean, but if I wouldn't have asked the question, we would have assumed it's his ring. He's marrying his wife, his bride, with his own ring.
Isn't that a standard question?
They
People
would
say,
ask
is this
that.
your ring? They ask. Every wedding they do
I
that.
understand that. I wasn't officiating. This was before we got under the chuppah. This is when he was about to walk down. So immediately, we got Aiden, we got the grandmother, because she was the heir of the ring, and he gave her $1, and he made a kinyan in the presence of witnesses, and she said, the ring is your ring, and then he went to the wedding, walked down the aisle. That's the story. Okay?
Rabbi, if a man does remarry his divorced first wife, who had been married to somebody else, what would the Chazal do? He's done something.
They'd force him to divorce her.
They would.
Of course, it's like a Kohen marrying a divorcee.
It's not like once it's done, it's done.
No, he's living in sin.
He's living in sin every moment.
Every time that he cohabits with her, it's a problem. He's not permitted to be with such a woman. And like Cohen married to a grusha, right?
So they would force the divorce.
They would definitely force the divorce. Okay? Hiskin Rebbe Gamliel Hazokin, Shli Yosin Kain. Mnei Tikkun Olam. Yeah. That you cannot cancel the agent, right? Unless the agent knows that he's been canceled. They take an olam, because what's going to happen? The agent's going to deliver the get. By the time you know what's going on, she could remarry, and she remarries. What happens? She's a married woman. So therefore, we say your cancellation means nothing. That unless the agent who's delivering the get knows he's canceled, he's not canceled. Okay? The first case, it says a person has a get v'giya b'shliach. Now, there's a difference between higia and higio. The connotation higio, he came upon him. Higio, that's more direct in terms of the agent himself. Higia means he happened to come upon him. So, if it's higio, what does higio mean? That means he was pursuing him. So when we pursue him, so the presumption is when he tells him, he canceled, he's canceled. Of course, it's clear from his behavior that his intent was to cancel him. What about, he just met him. He goes into the restaurant and he meets the shliach that he sent. But he wasn't looking for the shliach. He says, oh, by the way, you canceled. So the fact is, we're talking about something serious is happening here. Well, because he just happened to meet him. He wasn't looking for him. So maybe I'll say over there, maybe when he says it's canceled, he really is not sincere what he's saying. It means nothing. Right? Higio lokton el higia afilu memelo. That even it's something in passing, but it's not something that originally was planned to meet this person or to locate him, even that's considered a cancellation. Afilu memelo. We don't say his intention is only because he wants to give his wife a hard time. Just to paint her that she should think she's not divorced and she is divorced. O shesholach achrav shliach lomali. So what's the chiddush? He sends an agent. It's even more so if he sends an agent to cancel the first agent. Right? So it's clear. His agency is canceled. Lomali. Mal de semelo alima shlichusei de basra b'shlichusei de kamo. Liftulei. Maybe I would say that the latter shliach, they're both shluchim, right? The first is shliach, second shliach. So what do we say? My high shliach, my shliach. Why does the second one have any greater credibility than the first one? I mean, it's difficult over here. Why not? Factually, the second shliach says the husband canceled you, and I'm here, his agent, to tell you canceled. So I mean, what? What do you mean? If the husband would want to cancel the first shliach, he's canceled. So why? And if the agent is the equivalent of the husband, and he's only informing us what the husband's intent was, so what do you mean? But he's also shliach. The first is a shliach. Why do I give greater credibility to the second one? Factually, he has to prove. He has to prove he's a shliach, right? Let's say he has no proof he's a shliach. Just because he says it's canceled, it's not canceled, right? So evidently he proved that he is the shliach. So when he says you're canceled, who canceled him? The shliach canceled him, or the husband canceled him? The husband canceled him. So what's even the consideration? He's not canceled. Okay?
But if he's canceled by the husband, why does he come? Why does he show up with a get? He doesn't have to come up with a get.
No. There were two individuals. He sends shliach A. Shliach A is not aware of it. The husband himself, he just had knee surgery. So he can't pursue the shliach. So he points him and says, go tell that man he's canceled. The man arrives, he says, you canceled. So what's the chiddush? Of course he's canceled. The shlich is the equivalent of the husband. The answer is because they're both agents. Why should I give any greater credibility to the second agent? The first, maybe I should give greater credibility to the first agent. So the question is, it's nothing credibility. The second person has to prove he's an agent. Once he proves he's the agent, so what is he telling me? The husband canceled him. So he canceled him. Finish. It's over. Has nothing to do. Why does one shlich have greater power than the other shliach? Factually, we know the husband canceled. You're gone. It's over.
So he doesn't have to show up with a get.
The first agent has the get. He has the get. He's delivering the get. Kamash from none that he could cancel him. So the Chazon Ish explains, the Gemara down on scroll in the footnote, they bring it over, the Chazon Ish. Did they ask this question? So what does he say?
Talking about whether it's the get that's invalidated or the agency that's invalidated.
That's a separate, that we're going to have later, right? Yeah, but still, the Gemara is saying, why does the second agent have a greater credibility than the first? Because only says, quotes Tosas later, that the second agent, to be credible, he has to have witnesses that he was appointed to be the agent. If the witness is saying that he was appointed by the husband to be the agent, to tell him that the get is canceled or that the agency is canceled, it's not even the question. It's over. The get cannot be delivered, not even the question. Here it's speaking about he doesn't come with witnesses. So therefore it's only on his say-so. So you have the first agent and the second. The only difference is the first agent has a get in his hand. So maybe you would say you would allow the woman to remarry. So we're not really sure, because it's Ein Dov Shebe'er, later Tosha says Ein Dov Shebe'er post Mishnayim. Factually, the get, whether it is or whether the marriage is or not, is Dov Shebe'er. This is Dov Shebe'er. So you need, the second agent has to be what? Has to be appointed with two witnesses. Two witnesses have to be aware of this. We don't have the two witnesses. The man's not bringing two witnesses with him. So I would think maybe, since I don't have any two witnesses, maybe I should just ignore him. Because the first agent, I know he is the agent. Kamash Malon, no. We give credibility, but not definite credibility. To be determined. That witnesses ultimately will have to come to say that he was appointed. Once that happens, then there's no chiddush any longer. But I would think maybe until you bring those witnesses, you don't pay attention to the second agent. The answer is you do pay attention to the second agent. That's how the Chazon Ish learns the Mishnah. Of course, it's verifiable. Since it is something which is verifiable, I mean, he doesn't say it. We have a principle that We had a case in Chulin that if, let's say you have milk falls into meat, and you're not sure if it's 60-1. Okay, so what do? You can't taste it. You're not permitted to taste it. You may taste it. So you get a non-Jew, an expert taster, and you ask him, do you taste something or don't taste it? So the question is, but a guy has no credibility, right? Even as an Eidechot, even as a single witness. So what is the value that he says he doesn't taste milk in the meat? He's not believed. Even so what? It doesn't make a difference. He has no credibility. So the Shach and the Tazbot say in Shulchan Aruch, because we have a principle, something which ultimately we revealed, we could say with certainty a man's not going to lie. Let's say he says you don't taste, and we're speaking he's an expert taster, it's going to hurt his reputation. So let's say he says it doesn't, and you taste it, and you taste milk in the meat. That means you're going to catch him in a lie. And his reputation will be hurt. So in that case, we could say with certainty he's not going to lie. That's milsta video glue, something ultimately will be revealed, lo meshakri, and your person doesn't lie. So it's not based on Eid Echad. It's based on An Sadi. We could all attest to the fact that he's telling us the truth. That's why you're permitted to rely on what he says. Okay? So over here we're saying something similar. That since he claims they're witnesses, so since it's something which can be verified, right? Therefore you say, son, we say you're not permitted to remarry. Based on the agency of the first agent. No, a person comes out of nowhere. And he says, the husband sent me. So what, you're not going to disrupt the story with the grandmother. He ignored her. That means nothing. Okay? It says that if he himself preempted the agent and he came to the wife and said to her, the get I gave you that's going to be delivered, I canceled. So it says, the man arrives, the get has no value. So what's the chiddush? And we hear the man, the chvodu ba'atzma, as we say, he's coming in his own glory, telling you the get's no good. It's not a get. What's the chiddush of the Mishnah? Ma'od the same. Kilo amin tzuri ko mechabin hanimil l'shliach. Right? When you send it through a shliach, you tell the shliach you canceled. You don't say he's saying this because he wants to give the woman heartache. He really means, but he wants her to be like, think she's in a limbo state. But to her, we're not talking about the relationship is anything to be desired here. So the more he could pain her, he wants to pain her. And you would say with certainty that's his intent, because whoever heard a man already decided to give a get, all of a sudden now he's canceling. And she, evidently, maybe she's not even interested in continuing a relationship. Kamash Malon, we don't say it, and it's considered a cancellation.